Welcome to Mission Past, where we look at archaeology and history behind video games whilst simultaneously trying to complete a mission. Today it's Wings of Prey and the mission Baptism by Fire from the Battle of Britain campaign. We're going to attempt it on the simulator difficulty level, so buckle up, chocks away. Right. It's the 10th of July 1940, the very beginning of the Battle of Britain, a military campaign that lasted around 3.5 months, where the Royal Air Force defended the United Kingdom from attack by Nazi Germany's Air Force, the Luftwaffe. It was the first military campaign fought entirely by aerial forces. The Germans attacked with around 2,500 planes, a mix of fighters and bombers, and the Allies defended with around 1,900 aircraft, mainly a mix between the famous Supermarine Spitfire and the Hawker Hurricane. There were about twice as many Hurricanes as there were Spitfires, and we're sitting in one of those Hawker Hurricanes now. The objective of the attacking forces was to gain air superiority over the UK and force them to negotiate a peace deal. They were also planning an invasion of the British Isles, and we'll come back to the invasion plan a little later in this video. But the first thing to do is get this bally crate in the air, and to do that we'll start the engine of our Hawker Hurricane. The workhorse of the RAF. Now, because we're on simulator mode, it's going to be hard. Well, actually, as you can see, it's hard even to start the engine, but it's going to be difficult to even get this thing off the ground. So, engine on. Okay, ease up the throttle. Now, you'll notice that the plane pulls over to the left. I read that's because of engine torque, so I've got to balance that by a bit of right rudder. Now, okay, now we're rapidly heading towards those trees, so let's... pull back on the throttle. Oh my god. Gear up, flaps raised. Oh, okay.
Pilot, we're on our way to Dover. Follow me. Altitude 1,500. Speed 185. Over. Roger.
Right, now that we're scrambled, our task is to fly over to Dover and team up with Wing Commander Tuck. But first, a little bit about the plane we're in, the Hawker Hurricane, which has been a little bit overshadowed by its contemporary, the Spitfire. Hurricanes were bigger and slower and less manoeuvrable than Spitfires, but they were apparently easier to fly, which is handy for me because I'm going to need all the help I can get flying this. They were also more durable and were able to fly even if heavily damaged. They were made out of wood and fabric, which was a trifle old-fashioned, even for 1940, and they were described at the time as being halfway between an old biplane and a Spitfire. Right, back to the mission. First of all, I'll trim the flaps by pressing T. That'll make us a bit more stable in the air. Now, let's bring up the map. Now, we've got to head over to the flashing yellow dot at the bottom. That's Wing Commander Tuck. In Dover, and as you can see we're heading in completely the wrong direction, so we'll swing around.
Hello, right. You asleep? Proceed to Dover.
And we will proceed to Dover indeed. So, let's see, where's Dover? There it is. So we'll swing around. Now, generally during the Battle of Britain, the Hurricanes were focused against the enemy bombers and the faster and more nimble Spitfires against the enemy fighters. Today we'll be squaring off against some enemy bombers. Right, okay, let's just come a bit more to the right and should use our rudder left and right. Now, that's the English Channel you can see in the distance between the southeast of England and France. And the planned invasion of the UK that I mentioned at the beginning was called Operation Sea Lion. On the 16th of July 1940, so around the time this mission is set, Hitler ordered the preparations for Operation Sea Lion to begin in earnest. So troops and transport vessels were amassed in northern France, set to invade England.
You lost. Proceed to Dover. The Luftwaffe won't hang around to wait.
Right. We're getting there. I read that one of the problems that the Hurricane had, which was never solved, was that the cockpit filled up with carbon monoxide. And to combat that, pilots were required to use oxygen from engine startup to engine shutdown. Right, we're getting closer now. I think that plane you can see in the window there is Tuck. So let's...
You lost. Proceed to Dover.
I'll give it.
Luftwaffe won't hang around to wait.
Give it a rest, mate, will you? I'm here now, anyway.
There's Dover. See Dover Castle to the left?
There it is.
Almost 1,000 years old, that is. They call it the key to England. I know. I went to that place when I was at school.
Dover Castle, the largest castle in England. Just heard some shockingly bad voice acting there. I know. I went to that place when I was at school.
Attention, TAC. This is Flying Fish. The Navy reports 2 German bombers inbound. Do you read? Over.
Roger, I have you loud and clear. Only 2. Must be stragglers. Let's go get them.
Now we've got to take out a few enemy bombers. They're slightly to our left, so let's turn around. In fact, that's them there, I believe. Tally-ho! Right, let's attack. We've got the... we're above the enemy, that's good. We've got the altitude advantage. Now, flying this thing's pretty difficult, but we'll try our best. And we've missed. You'll notice on this hard turn that we're starting to black out, so you've got to be easy on the lever. Let's give him a licking. Got him. Hit him, I think. Crikey. There's the other one. Let's ease up on the throttle a bit. And change the flaps to combat. We'll pull it around. Bang up the throttle.
Am I right?
Oh.
Well, what do you say? We go look for the rest of their squadron, continue the patrol. Let's head west along the coast. Look lively.
Okay, well that's 2 taken out with it must be said a lot of help from our friends. Now we're going to continue the patrol down the coast. Here's something I didn't know about the Battle of Britain. 10% of all RAF sorties were carried out by bomber crews. I had the idea there was just fighter planes defending the skies. Bomber crews carried out raids mainly against the preparations for Operation Sea Lion, the planned invasion, and the raids were jumped on by the British press as a propaganda tool, sort of taking the fight to the enemy. Despite this, even by the middle of the war, the role that the bombers had during the Battle of Britain had been lost from the public consciousness. So that's an aspect from the British side of things that's kind of been forgotten a bit. Anyway, we'll continue our patrol down the coast, next to the white cliffs of Dover. Just to the right. Sound like an airline pilot.
This is your captain speaking. We're currently cruising at approximately 775 meters. The air temperature outside is irrelevant. Shortly, Alessandro will be making his way through the cabin with a wonderful selection of scratch cards for you to buy.
Right. Do you have them?
I have them. Going in.
Right, we've got to destroy the rest of the bomber squadron, which should be just to our left. There they are. 4 of them. 4 of the blighters. You bloody bounders! I'm coming over there to give you a downward thrashing. Oh, it went a bit Prince Charles at the end there.
And what do you do? I see you're a fighter pilot. Very interesting.
Try and lead the fire. come around. Come on. This thing is so difficult to control.
It's frightfully hard to control, you see.
Okay. Let's see, where are they? Should be, I think we're directly above them. Right, there they are. Okay, let's go in for another attack. Using, if you see the top left there, the throttle's on WEP. That stands for War Emergency Power, which was a throttle setting on some World War II military aircraft. It gave the engine a bit of extra oomph. British forces had to log every time they used WEP, but I shan't be filling out the paperwork. Right, we've got him. Let's come back around. Oh, I might get hit by him there. Taking a bit of fire. Okay. Let me hit him a bit. Come on! Take him. Got him. Let's break off. I think we've taken a couple of hits there. We're going to get above them and go in for another attack. There they are. And there's our wingmen going in to attack. Now, the design of the Hurricane was led by a man called Sidney Cam, who wanted to make sure it was easy to build, maintain and repair, so he used as many existing manufacturing techniques and parts as possible, and often Hurricanes that had sustained damage that would write off a Spitfire were quickly repaired and sent back into the sky. In fact, it only took 9 minutes to fully rearm and refuel a Hurricane and send it back into the sky. With a Spitfire, it took 26 minutes.
Right, let's show these Bosch. Just 2 more to go. I'm beginning to like this.
Ah, Wing Commander Tux finally decided to turn up. How nice of you to show up, old boy. And the other wingman sounds American. Of course, America was officially neutral at this point in the war, but the RAF do recognise that 7 US pilots fought during the Battle of Britain, so it must be one of them. It can't just be bad voice acting. I think we got him there. I think he's definitely taken a hit there. Right, let's... left. Right, let's... Got him.
Shooting rats in a barrel. Good show. Those kill markings should look good on your fuselage.
Brilliant. Okay, I think that's all of them destroyed.
Right. This is Ace McKellar. I'll be confirming your victories. Good show. Now return to base. We'll take it from here. Over.
Roger. Returning to base. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right, so all we have to do now is land back at the airfield that we took off from to complete the mission. Easier said than done. We've taken a bit of damage and this thing is difficult to fly and to land, so fingers crossed. Right, we'll get on the correct heading. And while we're pootling back to the airfield, let me tell you what happened with Operation Sea Lion. It was indefinitely postponed on the 17th of September 1940 as the Luftwaffe had been unable to gain air superiority during the Battle of Britain. There's some conjecture as to whether Sea Lion was ever really a serious invasion proposal or whether it was just designed to put pressure on the UK to surrender. Either way, in 1974, the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst held a war game designed to work out what would have happened had the Nazis invaded. It was played on a scale model of the southeast of England with 2 teams of 4 players playing as the UK and Germany. Here's a photo from 1974. The players were all military experts from their respective countries, some of whom served during the war. It was played for 16 hours straight, and the unanimous verdict was that the invasion would have been a devastating defeat for the German invasion force because they didn't control the airspace or the sea around Britain. Right, where is this bloody runway? They should bring back the war game as a board game. Operation Sea Lion, the board game. Could bring it out every Christmas and play it for 16 hours straight with your family. And then you have to go to bed, so you leave it all set up, make sure no one touches it, and then you wake up in the morning and discover your mum's cleared it away. Right, there's the runway. So we'll circle round. We'll come in. We'll come in nice and soft. We'll land nice and softly, soft as a feather. Right, we're coming around for our final approach. Here's a fact. In total, 14,538 Hurricanes were built, and there's only 13 of them left today. So let's make sure this Hurricane ends up in a museum. Let's not destroy it. Right, there's the runway. Let's pull it round. Gear down.
Cabin crew, seats for landing, please. Seats for landing. Thank you.
We're a bit fast. Crikey Moses. Oh god, we're going to hit the thing. Okay. Let's... Nice and soft. We're still going too fast here. Running out of runway. We're down. Okay, just brake on, brakes on, brakes on, brakes on. I think we're going to be alright. Oh, what the...
I'm going down.
Oh. Oh. Look how close we're right next to the runway. Right next to the runway. That's good enough. Isn't that good enough? No.
This is your captain speaking. We're currently cruising at 0 meters. We've crash landed and are on fire. Alexander will be making his way through the cabin with fire extinguishers that you can purchase for just €159 if you so wish to extinguish yourselves. Okay, thanks very much for flying with us today.
Right, anyway. There we go. Bloody difficult work this is on simulation mode. Anyway, we've covered the Battle of Britain, the Hawker Hurricane, the war game at Sandhurst for Operation Sea Lion. Let me know what you thought of Wings of Prey and the history we covered in the comments below. And if you like what you saw, subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next video.